sisters, it's Pastor Steve Walton here, and I'm looking forward to spending a few moments with you in the 6th chapter of Ephesians. And today we're going to be looking at verse 11, Ephesians 6:11, "Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the schemes of the devil." What Paul is essentially saying to the Christians in Ephesus, and what the Holy Scriptures are saying to us, is, to put it in vernacular terms, suit up. The way a coach might tell the players on a football team to go put on their pads and get into their uniforms and get ready for the big game. And of course, there are all kinds of people who have to wear special equipment. Firemen. I had a good friend in Greenville who was a fireman, and he told me that firemen call all the special clothing and equipment that they wear when they report to a fire, they call that their turnout gear. So depending on a person's job, if they have to do a job that's somewhat dangerous, they have to wear special clothing to protect themselves. And Paul is saying, put on the special protective clothing and equipment that God has provided for each and every Christian. The letter to the Ephesians contains lots of this put on language. For example, in chapter 4, verse 24, Paul describes the whole Christian life as putting on the new self. And here in chapter 6, verse 11, it's a reference to putting on that daily armament that you need and that I need for spiritual warfare. And the instruction is simple: put it on. Wear all of it. Don't leave any part off. It's what we need. So that's why he says put on the full armor of God, or the ESV says the whole armor. Wear the entire outfit. Wear everything that God has provided for you, for your protection, and for you to carry out and to wage the spiritual warfare. Now, throughout history, armor has changed quite a bit. You've seen in museums the kind of armor that knights wore in the Middle Ages, and you've seen armor perhaps that was like what the Roman centurions and members of the legions would wear. And it's obviously changed throughout the ages. But the point behind armor is warriors never go into battle. They never close with the enemy in the same kinds of things they would wear on an ordinary day-to-day basis. And that's true even today. The warriors have never gone to war in ordinary attire, carrying the things that they would take to an ordinary job. And that's because not having a complete set of armor, not having a full set of equipment, leaves a person vulnerable. And so Paul tells us, put on the whole armor of God. Now, the armor of God, the text says, makes you able to stand. And the implication there is, without it, you can't stand. And what are you able to stand against? Or what is it that he says that this armor will enable you to withstand? The answer is the schemes of the devil, or we could say his wiles, or his stratagems. Satan is a terrorist, and terrorists don't fight fair. We've been involved in what some have called the war on terror in the United States of America. We've been waging the war on terror for nearly 2 decades now, and it's a different kind of fight. Satan doesn't fight fair. He doesn't observe or heed any rules of engagement. And what are the schemes of Satan? Well, he works in 2 primary ways, I think. He comes against us with these alternating strategies. The first is he uses subtle methods. He may try to deceive. He may try to entice us with things. He uses propaganda to lead us astray. Or, on the other hand, when he's not using these more subtle methods, he might use more hostile ones, like things that are aggressive, spiritually or physically. He attacks openly and in his fury. So it doesn't really matter whether Satan is coming at us like the serpent in the garden, or whether he's assailing us like a lion seeking whom he may devour. You can stand against Satan. You can stand against him if you put on the full armor of God. So the application for us is that, spiritually speaking, we need to dress appropriately. That's always true in life, isn't it? If it's cold outside or if it's windy, you want to bundle up and wear heavy clothes. If it's really hot outside, you'll wear lighter clothes and you'll leave the sweater or the jacket at home. It's true with the weather. It's true for your work. The people who've been working all these months to build our beautiful new church building, they wear a certain kind of clothes for that kind of work, and it's a different kind of clothes than you would wear if you're going into work in an office or if you're going to work at a hospital. And so when you're dressing for warfare, which Christians must do every day, we need to have the right attire on. We need to be wearing the right stuff. R.C. Sproul once wrote, "Each Christian is a target of Satan and his angels. If we are to stand firm, we have to be properly equipped for that battle." Now, the putting on language that I mentioned earlier, I want to point out that putting on the new self, or as it's described elsewhere, putting on Christ, and putting on the full armor or the whole armor of God are all essentially the same thing. It's a spiritual activity whereby we put on something that's going to protect us. And as long as we are the church on earth in this present age, we will be the church at war, or as it's sometimes called, the church militant. And so the message for you and me is, be on the alert, put on your armor every day and keep it on, and fight the good fight of faith.